you just been dying to say. We do, girl, I believe.
My name is Lindsay Lunke. In 2016, I decided to publicly identify myself as a victim of Larry Nassar. Hello you guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lindsay, and if you are not new here, thank you so much for coming back. And the video that I am filming tonight is the part 2 of my trigger videos that I am doing. Like I said in the last video, I had to separate it into 2 videos because there was a lot of information that I wanted to include. And also, like I said, I wanted to be able to get this video up right away for you guys. So I am filming very late at night right now because I wanted to get this up for you guys and get it edited. So, in the first video, if you haven't seen that one, or any of my previous videos, I will have all of those linked down below in the description box. That way you can easily find them to go watch those because they will be adding on to one another, sort of in a sequence. So I want to make sure that you guys are keeping up with those. And in the part 1 of these 2 videos that I did, I talked about my triggers, anxiety, depression, PTSD, so essentially things that I have been diagnosed with, how it's affected me, mental health in general, and I also talked about being in public and dealing with triggers. So in this video I will be talking about dealing with the opinions of others and their opinions about your triggers, as well as any advice that I would give to you, anything that was left unsaid that was not already mentioned before. So just to save time and make sure this video isn't insanely long, I'm just going to get started. And like I said, the first section we will be talking about is dealing with the opinions of others and hearing triggering things. The first question is, how do you deal with people who try to minimize your trauma, saying that it's not that big of a deal? This is something that I still really struggle with because I feel like I constantly have to validate myself, and I always have to make sure people believe me, like I'm not making up lies, I'm not exaggerating. So the main thing that I have to remind myself of is they have no idea what you have been through. If somebody has the audacity to put you down as a victim of abuse, they clearly have issues of their own that they're dealing with, because that's usually when people are mean to others. And when people are insecure about themselves, they take an insecurity that they know another person has and they use that against them. You just have to remind yourself that if somebody is actually trying to lessen what you are going through as a victim of abuse, just remember that they have absolutely no idea what you have been through. They probably don't even withhold like the amount of strength in their finger that you withhold in your entire body. So just try your best to take it from the higher road, and just remember that usually if somebody is saying mean things about you, it's because they are insecure about themselves and they are trying to take a low point in your life and use that against you, even though it's something that you're really working hard to heal from. So just remembering always that be the better person, be the bigger person. You know what you've been through. Don't feel like you have to lower yourself to what they're doing to validate how you're feeling. The next question is, how do you deal with people saying ignorant stuff without overreacting? This is a prime question, you guys. Like, when I read this question, I literally was like, praise the Lord, yes, for somebody asking this question, because I still struggle with this. I am very strong-headed in the fact that I always have to be right. I always have to have the last word. It's just how I've always been. And so when people try to insert their opinion on a topic they know nothing about, Lord give me strength, because it takes everything in me to not just go off. My immediate reaction when somebody tries to input their opinion on a topic like this where they really don't have that much knowledge on, I just want to put them in their place and be like, shut up. Like, you have no right to insert an opinion that is ignorant, and 2, you're trying to hurt my feelings into a topic that you literally know nothing about. Just remember, again, you're probably much more strong and courageous than that person will ever be in their life because of the things that you have had to go through. So rest in your thoughts that God has your back and karma is a real thing. You have so much more to worry about in your life right now than people who try to hurt you to make themselves feel better. always remember that. The next question is, how do I get myself out of a negative mood after someone or something has triggered me? I also think that this is a really, really great question because I kind of touched base on this in the first video. Like I said, recently I'm finally to that point in my life where I can realize the good days and the bad days, and being able to wake up and immediately know, okay, today is not going to be a good day, or immediately waking up and being like, wow, I'm in a great mood today. That gives you the power to take action. On your good days, you're productive, you get a lot of stuff done. On your bad days, when you realize that, you're putting yourself in a place where you know certain things are going to make you feel better and help get you out of that mood. Always just make sure that when you're in that funk, you're doing something to try to make it better. It's okay to have those bad days. It's absolutely okay because you're human. You're not supposed to be perfect all the time. When you're in those funky moods, like, just accept it. It's a bad day. It happens. But don't let yourself stay there. Always try to be doing something to help you feel better. I wrote a list down of things that I try to do when I'm in those moods to help myself feel better. So taking Colt for a walk, playing with Colt or Milo, putting on makeup, watching YouTube, going through my skincare routine, taking a hot shower, cleaning the house. I talked a little bit about my OCD issues that I have in my last video. So cleaning is something that I really enjoy doing because, like I said, that's something in my life that I can actually control. So I like to clean and organize. Unfortunately, shopping is something that I like to do when I'm having a bad day. Not good for the bank account, but good for the soul. And honestly, just like taking a nap, because if you are able to fall asleep on the days where I actually can fall asleep, taking a nap is a great way to just like remove yourself from those thoughts that you're having, because you can just sleep and like let your mind rest. Even sometimes, like, if you're craving something, whether it's healthy or not healthy, freaking eat it. In my opinion, if you're having a bad day and you want ice cream for breakfast, who cares? Eat ice cream for breakfast. Like, it's hard. The bad days are really, really hard, and you don't need to make them harder on yourself. So every now and again, if you're having a hard day and you want to eat ice cream for breakfast at 9 a.m., eat ice cream for breakfast at 9 a.m. Now, I'm not telling you to do that every single day because that's obviously not good for you, but if it's something that you know is just going to comfort you in that moment, then by all means. If you can't go to class that day because you're having really bad anxiety and you can't focus at all, why would you go to class? Because you're probably going to put yourself in a worse mood. You're not going to learn anything. It's not going to be beneficial. So when I do that, my accounting professor records our lectures and she writes on this pad during class, and then she posts it to our online website that MSU uses called D2L. So if I am having a crappy day, I will just go online and I'll watch that lecture from home and I'll still learn, but I'm not putting myself in that environment where I know I'm not going to learn. So just really being able to be active on those bad days and know that you can't let yourself stay there, but there are things that you can do to help yourself get out of that funk. The next question is, how would you respond if a person who doesn't know your story triggers you? So to me, when I read this question, I don't know if I'm taking it wrong, but I think that this is different when someone is purposely forcing their opinion on you when they know that it's different from what you have. So I think this question is basically saying when someone triggers you, but they truly do not know. When this happens to me, I really just try to go like with the flow of the conversation, because you obviously don't want to overwhelm them with things that happen to you. You don't want to get super defensive, because this is what we need. Like, those people that don't know and don't have the education, like, you now have the power to be able to teach them and educate them on situations like this. Remember too that not everybody's out to hurt you. Not everybody is out to use your healing path and your abuse against you like some people are. They're not always trying to kick you when you're down. And there are people that are like that, but there are people who aren't, even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes. Just remembering to try to use it as, when someone does trigger you and they don't know it, use it as an opportunity to educate that person and help them understand why that can be hurtful to say to somebody who is going through the healing process of abuse. And the last question is how to deal with people talking about the case and assaults in general over social media, and how some people are so ignorant to it and speak badly about it. This question is the pure reason why I deleted my Twitter, was because of the poor opinions, the attitudes I would get from people, just people saying that it was my fault and parents should have known that this never would have happened if people weren't stupid, just things like that. I just ended up really, this is bothering me. Okay. I just really had to tell myself that there are literally people who have internet accounts on social media platforms just to be trolls. Like, they log onto Twitter just to find people and bully them. Like, people literally live that low of lives and they thrive off of that. So you, again, just have to remember that they have absolutely no idea what you've been through. You are so much more of a person in general, just a bigger heart, more caring, more kind. You are able to give back to other people so much more than that person who is literally just sitting behind their screens and saying rude things just to make themselves feel better. So now I'm going to go into the last section of questions, which is advice that I would give in general. And the first one is, my dog helps me so much. Could you talk about therapy versus emotional support versus a service dog? Therapy, I think it's best for understanding where you are in your healing process and being able to get those resources to help you heal, as well as just being able to vent to someone who can listen and provide help and can help you psychologically understand why you feel the way you do, versus emotional support, which I consider those things that I do on my bad days to help me feel better, to get yourself out of that funk, as opposed to a service dog. Colt is unfortunately nowhere near a service dog by any means. He's a psycho, but I do know a lot of people who have registered their animals as emotional support animals and therapy dogs, and I know that it is very beneficial for them. I did not get Colt with the intention of making him a service animal. I truly just have a really big love for dogs, and I knew that I was always going to want a dog of my own. So that is why I got Colt. It wasn't with the intention of making him a service animal. He just has way too silly and fun of a personality to be trained to just not be who he actually is, so I wouldn't ever do that to him. But therapy, I think it's just best for the resources. Emotional support, just to help yourself get out of that funk. And as far as a service dog, I think it's just great to have a companion that's there for you, so you don't ever have to feel like you're alone. The next question is, do you have any tips for staying in the moment instead of dissociating? When I think of dissociating, I think of going back to the time of my abuse. And what I do to help myself when I get in those moments are to remember how far I've come in the last 2 years since that last time I was abused, and just realizing all the progress you've made, and just realizing however long your healing process has been, how much stronger of a person you are now than you were then. I always appreciate the person that I was back then. And as hard as it can be, because I know that people have thoughts, and I did too for a long time, of how did I let this happen? I should have known. This is my fault. But appreciating the person that you were, because it's important to love yourself at any stage of your life, no matter what you're going through, because you have to realize that you went through everything you did for a reason, to come out a much stronger person with more courage, being able to help give back to other people because of what you've been through, and be a leader. In my personal opinion, victims of any kind of abuse, or I guess I should say survivors, are stronger than any other person I know. Mentally, physically, emotionally, they have been through some of the worst, and they come out stronger on the other end, no matter how many times somebody tried to tear them down, make them feel like they were nothing, like they were a pile of dust. They picked themselves back up time after time after time and said, no, you're not going to defeat me. I'm going to win. You have to love yourself no matter what stage you were in, even when you were that pile of dust, because you were still a human who truly did not know. Because abuse is not your fault, ever. So just remembering that when you get in those moments of going back to those times that were really hard, remembering how far you've come, and the amount of strength that you've learned you hold within you, and the courage that you have, and now the power that you hold inside yourself to use your voice for other people and being able to help other people. The next question is how to calm yourself down when you get anxious and keep thinking about the assault. Do anything that will distract you. I mean anything. If that is counting the threads on your blanket, count them. Doing anything that you can in that moment to help distract yourself in your mind to get away from those thoughts. I mean, do literally anything except for let yourself continue to think about that. Take deep breaths, separate yourself from the situation, and find something that will distract you. The next question is, do you or did you ever feel like it was your fault? If so, how do you overcome those thoughts? So yes, I do. Like I just said, I had those feelings of where I felt like things were my fault and I felt like that I should have known better in the moment. In that case, you have to remember grooming, because that's what grooming is. Grooming is to try and make you feel like you have to be dependent on that person, like you trust them with everything, that no matter what they do to you, they don't mean it, even if it's bad. They're there for your best interest. They have a big heart for you, just things like that in general. That is essentially grooming, is making you feel like you were dependent on that person, like you could trust them. So I always just try to go back and I just think about all the things that Larry did to me that would be like, okay, no wonder why I thought he was a good person. Because whether you were in just emotional abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, no matter what it was, someone grooms you because they want to control you, but they also want to make you feel good. So it goes both ways. Just in general on that question, when you start to feel like something is your fault, you aren't supposed to know when somebody is grooming you, because that is the whole point. So don't ever feel like your abuse or anything like that was your fault, because how are you supposed to know that person's intentions? You weren't. If you're like me and you just think people have good hearts, I never used to think that people had inner motives, but now obviously I do. But just in general, you aren't supposed to know when someone's grooming you, so it can't be your fault. The next question is, how do you get over nightmares? So I kind of touched base on this already, but I'm going to go over it again in a little bit more detail. So once I wake up, I just try to take a second to realize the safe space that I'm in, and I try to wake myself up all the way. So like I said, sometimes when you wake up, when you're sleeping, it takes a while to come to what's going on. So really doing anything you can, moving around, even sitting up, to really make yourself realize where you are and the current environment that you're in. I always just like I said, take a moment to realize the safe space I'm in. So I have DJ next to me in bed. Obviously all my doors are locked. I'm home in the comfort of my home. I have usually Milo sleeping up in the bed with us. Colt sleeps on his own bed on the floor. So I have both of my animals with me. Really just trying to calm down, realize that the nightmare wasn't real. It's just your mind playing tricks on you, and you are in a safe space. And if I really can't shake it, then usually I wake DJ up. I try not to do that too often, but I have done that before. I'll wake DJ up and I'll tell him I can't sleep and just kind of talk it out and fall back asleep with him. So that makes it better too. And then I did get one question on Instagram that I really want to touch base with, because this is a really, really good question. So let me find it. And this kind of goes along with the nightmare question, but since my abuse, I've been too panicked to sleep alone. So afraid I literally just freeze and cry and shake all night. I have had to sleep in my mom's room in order to feel safe enough to sleep. Is that normal, or am I really weird? So I'm going to keep this anonymous because I don't obviously want to say who this is, but I just responded to her, "You're not weird at all. Don't ever think that. You are not weird for any of your reactions or effects to the way somebody abused you, if that makes any sense." So what I mean by that is, if you are a victim of abuse, you are not weird for however that abuse has affected you, and you are not weird for how you choose to heal from it. I actually related that answer to, you're probably going to make fun of me and think this is really cheesy, but let me find it. So for any of you who watch Grey's Anatomy, I used to watch Grey's Anatomy like I was addicted to it. And if you've ever seen it, Meredith Grey and Derek Shepherd obviously dated, had issues, and she says to him at one point, "I make no apologies for how I choose to repair what you broke. And that's what I'm talking about. You should never have to say sorry or feel weird for how you choose to heal from your abuse. And however that affects you, when you have to sleep with other people or you can't go anywhere alone, you're never weird for that. Because, like I said before, you weren't meant to go through abuse. So how you choose to heal from it and how it affects you is never weird. It's never anything to be ashamed of. And chances are you aren't alone. Like, it's really, really hard stuff, guys. Like, it's not just your everyday, like, I had a bad day, my car wouldn't start. It's really, really hard stuff that takes a long time to heal from. And you should never, ever have to feel sorry or apologize for how you choose to go about making yourself feel better and mending yourself back together. So, on that question, that is going to end these trigger videos. I hope that you guys really enjoyed these two. I feel like they are going to be some of the most beneficial videos that I will do in this series. If you guys still have more questions that you want answered or you heard something that made you think of another question, please let me know. I will add those in to another video coming up. If you guys want another trigger video, I'm sure I have more questions that I can answer for you guys because I know that these were really, really popular. So please just let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to message me on Twitter or Instagram. I usually check Instagram the most, and you can always leave comments down here, but if you want them to be anonymous, head over to my Instagram. With that being said, I'm not sure what video I'm going to post next. I still have a lot of planning I need to do for these next couple of videos. I put a lot of time into these ones. It was a few late nights. I'm filming very late right now because I want to get these up for you guys. So I really hope, again, that you guys like these videos. Please subscribe down below so you can see the next videos that are coming, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.